Mark my words, that is where fortunes are going to be created. I have always known that whoever tokenizes a commodity first, that is where significant amounts of money are going to be made. And what do I mean by that? Well, the same way that the dollar used to be backed by the gold standard, if you were to think about it, if somebody were to come out with a cryptocurrency, a coin or a token, and when I use those terms, I'm talking about really one and the same. If they really had a coin that was backed by, let's say, gold, it was backed by oil, it was backed by precious metals. Now you have something that people can sink their teeth into. And folks, that's exactly what DET and the company DebtBox has done. DET stands for Decentralized Eco-Friendly Blockchain Technology. And they are the future of crypto and the future of crypto mining. They are a decentralized, eco-friendly blockchain technology network of autonomous software node operators. I am one of these node operators. I own software. And what we do is we make up this blockchain ecosystem. And all of our projects are supported by real world commodities that are linked through blockchain to add stability to the ecosystem with tangible physical commodity production. Things like agriculture, high yielding agriculture. We're talking about bauxite, which is aluminum. We're talking about crude oil or gold or real estate, royalty cash flows, natural gas and silver, just to name a few of the projects that we currently have in the works or in development. So our ecosystem, it has the opportunity, or it gives people the opportunity to be able to get involved in the cryptocurrency space and know that these real world commodities that are in high demand are backing each one of our projects. And that is why, folks, we've sold over 1 million licenses in 19 countries around the world in less than 12 months, because we are solving one of the biggest challenges that we have experienced in this space. So I want to play a little video for you here. Let me make sure that the sound is optimized so that you guys can hear this. I want to introduce you to the DebtBox.
Blockchain is redefining how we operate as a society, from supply chain to payment solutions. But the multi-step, profound essence of the technology also creates conditions that add confusion to the cryptosphere, sometimes feeling like opportunities are reserved for the upper elite. Revolution occurs when the physical and digital converge at a single point, where a whirlwind of ideas demolishes old concepts and builds something new amidst the ruins. Introducing the decentralized, eco-friendly blockchain technology known as the DEPT ecosystem. DEPT is a vertically integrated, all-inclusive and home-based solution to blockchain complexities. All of the projects are unique in that each one is supported by or linked to a specific sector in the commodities market. Moreover, the collision of crypto and precious natural resources have generated a token that binds the entire system together. This is where crypto meets commodities. The DEPT token is the central support and utility token for the DEPT ecosystem. It features a growing list of token projects that will boast swap pairing with the DEPT token. Other ecosystem projects are deflationary, with transfer fees to support the network, discouraging frequent trading. Because of this, ecosystem token holders will be encouraged to transfer their project token value to the DEPT token before transferring and using it for trading and liquidity. Given its central role on the platform, the DEPT token will generate increased demand as more and more projects enter the ecosystem and projects mature. At its core, the DEPT ecosystem collectively gathers all sectors in the commodities market. Black Gold, or BGLD, is a revolutionary blockchain project based on the physical production and sale of crude oil. Natural Gas, or NATG, is an innovative blockchain project designed to streamline efficiencies in the world of exploration and is working to enhance the physical production and sale of natural gas. Grow's groundbreaking technology fosters participation in the growing industry of high-yield agricultural products. Digital linked metals, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, use cutting-edge technology to locate and extract rare precious earth metals. Along with our partners, both foreign and domestic, we ensure every metal token is linked with its physical counterpart. With many more projects on the horizon, the main goal of the DEPT ecosystem is to present complex commodities markets to you in a way that is easy to both understand and participate in, rewarding you for your support. The DEPT ecosystem is where crypto meets commodities. We are committed to projects that empower you, influence history, discover unexplored territory, shift perceptions with thedebtbox.com.
All right, so you guys are learning a little bit more about the company DebtBox. They are supported by a revolutionary scan technology that was developed over 5 years ago. They have been in the mining space for quite some time over in Africa, mining oil, precious metals, and they pioneered a technology that has the ability to be able to scan the earth and identify oil, natural gas, and other precious metals, but not just identify them in the ground. They have the ability to be able to pinpoint them to within 6 centimeters in the ground. Now, naturally, when you have oil companies, for example, that spend hundreds of millions of dollars in exploratory costs every year trying to pinpoint and locate crude oil in the ground, this type of technology is obviously extremely valuable. So they took this technology to some smaller oil companies. And at first, a lot of people didn't believe that they were capable of doing what they claimed that they could do with their technology. But they found a small oil company that said, look, we will partner with you and we'll pay you royalties on anything that you help us find. And so they started scanning, and they found their first technology, or their first site in Nevada. This was a site that was drilled in the 50s and 60s. They thought that it had gone dry. The new scan technology, and what you see in the pink, is actually a large chamber of oil that contained over 400 million barrels of oil that they didn't even know existed. So you can say they struck gold, or some of you might remember the old show Texas Tea, right? The Beverly Hillbillies. And so that, of course, created a lot of notoriety for the company. They started to have more and more companies that were coming to them saying, listen, we want to partner with you. And that's really where it started. And now we've been able to establish relationships with many of the large companies that you know today. So companies like BP and Shell and Exxon, they have exploratory companies that are within their company that go out and look for and discover oil. And we have been able to establish partnerships with many of them. So they have always been enthusiasts, crypto enthusiasts, and they've been frustrated with, a lot of the same challenges that we've been talking about, the meme coins and the rug pulls. And they said, what if we were to introduce an ecosystem, a community that included a number of different projects that were all backed by different commodities? And so they launched their first project called Black Gold. Black Gold was launched in November of 2021. And it was one of the more popular projects to come out of this of 2021. The project went up over 110,000%, created over 1,000 unique portfolio, 7-figure portfolio holders, enough to actually have one every 3 days in their ecosystem since Black Gold was introduced. So what did that do? It created a proof of concept. What it showed was, and the reason why so many people came running to this project, is because people were waiting for a coin to be introduced that was backed by something tangible. And so people were very excited about that. And since then, they've introduced various projects that are all backed by these different commodities, and all of the projects are up. I want you to think about what's going on in the cryptocurrency space right now. The cryptocurrency space as a whole, many projects are down 60, 70, 80, even as much as 90%. We are definitely in a crypto winter. We are definitely in a bear market. Doesn't mean that that won't recover. But among the crypto crash, if you will, that we've experienced in 2022, we have projects like Black Gold that are still up 60, 70,000%. You have projects like natural gas that are up almost 5,000% since it launched on May 1st. Where there is oil, there is often natural gas. And so on May 1st, we introduced a project that's backed by that natural gas. In fact, natural gas, we have more natural gas by dollar, by volume, and by reserve than any other commodity that we have. I started as a licensee collector, if you will, with natural gas. I started with 10 natural gas licenses, and then I continued to add more and more licenses as we moved forward because I was so happy with the results that I was getting. Another notable project that I want to just touch on here is Explorer. This is a fun project. So we have partnered with Boeing, with Google, with SpaceX, and they're now building our own satellite. Up to this point, we've been utilizing the same satellite that brings you Google Maps and Google Earth. Every scan that we do costs about $75,000. And so we now, with our own satellite, we'll be able to reduce the cost to about $3,000. And so what that does is it increased profitability on all of our projects across the board. So let's talk a little bit more about the projects and the ecosystem and the platform. So first of all, whenever you hear a project like this, the first question that you ask yourself, at least I ask myself, is this real? Is it really real? Is there really oil? Are they really mining? Right? Because there's been some programs of the past that claimed that they were mining, but really what they were doing is just taking the money that came in the door, and they essentially would spreadsheet mine, right? They would keep track of everybody, and then they would just pay out daily. And as long as there was enough people coming in the front door, they could continue to pay out. Well, that's not real mining, right? That's what's called a Ponzi scheme. One of the things that I really like and really gave me peace of mind in getting involved with this company is the fact that BLOX started on their own. They are an entirely different company than IX Global. IX Global is simply the exclusive wholesaler that has the rights to be able to sell their licenses. Two totally separate entities, two totally separate companies. And all IX Global does is we sell software licenses that allow you to mine these different projects that are created by BLOX. Now, this is one of our sites in Nebraska. I had a chance to be able to go there with a number of our top leaders, and this was really fun for me because I got a chance to be able to touch the oil, to be able to smell the oil, to be able to see the oil in the ground. This is a private farm. So for those of you that say, well, what happens if regulation comes in and this administration or that administration, they change, they change the laws. On private land, we can do whatever we want. This is a 5,000 acre farm in the middle of Nebraska. And the farmland owner has partnered previously with two exploratory companies. They knew that there was oil on this property, but both of those companies drilled and they could not hit oil. They partnered with us. We found 16 different targets on this particular property. We started with the largest, and we told them that we would hit oil at 7,200, the first payload at 7,260 square feet. And then the major payloads are down below that. We hit oil at 7,260 square feet. The guy down here in the blue that's kind of everybody standing around is an engineer that's run some of the largest sites for some of the biggest companies in the oil business. And he was in retirement. And the engineer that pioneered our technology and is one of the partners in our technology called him and said, listen, we have this new technology that has the capability of being able to pinpoint oil in the ground. And it's funny to listen to him tell the story because he says, you're full of, what, there's no way that this is possible, because they've always used seismic type of readings and they're not 100% accurate up to this point. And so he says, I'll tell you what, I'll prove it to you. And if I can prove it to you, will you come out of retirement and run one of our sites? And he said, yes, I will. And so he proved it to him, and he now runs this site. I'm just going to kind of give you guys just a little feel. This is actually one of the largest rigs in the United States. And it's pretty fun to be able to experience this firsthand. Let me back up here. There we go.
So this is the largest oil drill that you can buy. These are the same ones that Exxon and the big oil giants are using to drill down. And it runs 24 hours, has 18 people, 12-hour shifts, they're rotating. And I don't know if you can see it yet, but right on the side there, you can see the black gold BGLD, baby. And this is just one of the projects that is backed, or that is the crypto project that's backed by real world commodities. It's just incredible to see.
It's a pretty fun experience. So check it out. I got to stop here for a moment. I still have my BGLD hard hat right here. I could probably auction this off. I know there's a lot of people that like my BGLD hat, but don't know if I could part with it. It was kind of a cool deal. So I'm excited because we actually, in about 3 weeks, are going to Ghana, November 12th through November 18th. And every single day, we'll be taking a day trip, flying to various parts of Africa, and we'll be exploring our aluminum mining facilities. We'll be exploring many of the oil companies and going to the farms that support grow. We'll be meeting with government officials about some of the new legislation that's been passed that now requires anybody that mines in Africa to utilize our scan technology. So again, what we're doing is we're bringing the validity back to each and every one of you so that you have that peace of mind and comfort that this is real, that this ecosystem is real. And there is nobody, I can tell you guys, there's nobody in this industry that is doing anything like that. So let's go ahead and continue. How do blockchains work? For those of you that are newer into blockchain, when I first got started into cryptocurrency, there was like a whole different language. I remember the first time somebody says, well, what's the hash? I'm like, I don't know. The only hash that I know is the hash browns I ate this morning. I have no clue what you're even talking about, right? A hash it's the transaction ID. Every time that you transact, there is a hash that allows you to be able to look up that transaction. So there is a little bit of a learning curve, but what I want you to know is you don't have to be an expert here to be successful. My software does all the work. I don't do anything other than just, I mean, look, if you can withdraw the money every single day, then congratulations, you can be successful here. Because that's literally all we do is we go in, we click withdraw, and that's it. But I want to talk to you just to make sure that you understand how blockchains work and how we fit into the equation. So whenever there's a transaction that's requested in the cryptocurrency space, a block that represents the transaction is created. And what happens is the block is sent out to all of the different node holders, the license holders. And the software is digitally programmed to now verify that transaction. So that's essentially what your software is doing is it's operating 24 hours a day, it's validating transactions, and nodes receive a reward for their proof of work. And then from there, that block is added to the existing blockchain, which means that it's kind of like you getting the approval when you're standing there and you swipe your card and you're waiting for the approval to come back, the same thing. And now that transaction is complete. And so that's how we receive daily rewards. What DebtBox has done is they've really simplified mining to a level that allows the average person to get involved. In the old days, you had to have large mining equipment. They were noisy. They required a ton of energy. You had to run your electricity, your air conditioning very, very low, cables running everywhere. They've replaced all of that. Everything is now digital, and it allows you to basically buy a software license, they activate it, and then you withdraw your rewards daily. That's it. That's essentially all you're doing here. So very simple process. We've got a number of different projects now that we've introduced. We've got a number of more that are going to be coming out next year. They kind of gave us a sneak peek just a few weeks ago at some of those projects that are going to be coming out in 2023. But let's just touch on some of the different projects that we have. So Black Gold is our proof of concept project. It's backed by, supported by the oil industry within exploration and drilling and production. And ultimately, as a license holder, you're rewarded for the blockchain mining support with BGLD tokens. Now, Black Gold is no longer available. You can't purchase a Black Gold license until those licenses convert to an NFT, which I'm told now will be happening right around January of 2023. And those license holders have the opportunity now to be able to go and sell those licenses on the open market. So they'll go to a place like OpenSea, which is the largest NFT facilitator, if you will, and they'll be able to sell those in the open market for true value. The last that we looked, the retail value on Black Gold was selling at about $75,000. And many of those lucky individuals that got involved early on this project bought those licenses for $1,000 or $2,000. So that's Black Gold. We have natural gas launched on May 1st. Just so you guys know, natural gas is actually approaching being sold out much faster than we anticipated. So we anticipate that we will be out of natural gas licenses for sale on the IX wholesale side by the end of this year. So, and it could even be sooner, largely because of the amount of interest that we've had in this project. It's supported by the linked physical counter production and sale of natural gas. So I mentioned to you just the one site that I showed you guys, we have $1.7 trillion in natural gas just in that location. And we've got multiple locations that are around the world. Grow is the fourth DebtBox project to launch. I'm a big fan of Grow. I just bought 2 Grow licenses over the weekend. I The Grow rentals came out yesterday, and I maxed those out. I got 10 of those rentals as well. Grow, just so you guys know, was 23 cents a token approximately 60 days ago. As of yesterday, I didn't look at it today, it was at 80 cents per token. Show me a project anywhere in the cryptocurrency space over the last 60 to 90 days that's producing those type of results. Grow is backed by high yielding agriculture, soybean, cocoa bean, hemp. We deal in carbon credits. We help farmers become carbon certified. We use our scan technology to assist them in that process. It's essentially free money to them because they sell those carbon credits to large oil companies. So Grow is a fantastic project. We have digitally linked gold, is a project that's supported by and linked to the physical production and sale of gold. So we actually have a vault of gold, and you can exchange your tokens and they will send you the real gold. We have aluminum, which is a very popular project, getting a lot of attention right now, performing exceptionally well. Aluminum combines the advanced technology of Explorer, which is our scan technology, with the location and the extraction of bauxite. Bauxite is a clay that converts to aluminum. And we have just partnered with one of the largest bauxite mining companies in the world. We'll be visiting them here in a few weeks and bringing you guys some awesome footage back with that. And then we have Explorer, which we talked about a little earlier, which uses our own satellite. This, in fact, will be the first cryptocurrency that has a satellite in space. So I'd love to know, by the way, how many Explorer owners do we have here tonight? I have 15 personally. I love Explorer. I love aluminum. Right now, they are on our promotional pricing, which is fantastic. You can get into some of these projects at a very reasonable price. And then what happens is over time, the pricing of those projects starts to go up. So you can see Black Gold is now sold out. Natural gas is selling at $6,000 per license. I want to point out, we are still in a fantastic space with natural gold. It's still in an accumulation phase. We're paying, as of right now, the node holders are getting about 16,200 tokens per day with natural gas. So it's a great opportunity to get into a project early, accumulate a large amount of tokens, and then be able to, for those of you that are long-term holders, you have that tremendous upside potential that's there for you. I want to point out also that we are a wholesaler. You can go to DebtBox and buy these licenses, but you're also going to pay retail. NATG is now selling for $72,000 over at Debt. So how do we do that? We buy tens of millions of dollars of licenses when they first come out, and we control the price points to cater to our audience. Grow, $2,500 per license. And again, high yielding agriculture, you have DLG, which is $1,500, aluminum at $1,750, and Explorer at $1,500. So some great opportunities here to be able to get in on some of these newer projects. Here's a little hint for you guys. Aluminum and Explorer will be probably $3,000 to $3,500 per license within the next 4 weeks. So if you have not acquired some of those yet, this is a great time to load up. Why? All you have to do is go look at the performance of those two projects because they are doing exceptionally well. And as we get closer and closer to licenses being sold out, and as the project starts to perform well, the retail value of that license, the demand goes up, right? It's all about supply and demand. There's only a certain amount of licenses. And just like the real estate industry recently, right? As you had a low supply and a high demand, what happened to the prices of our homes? So I want to show you just our some snapshots of our back office. I want to give you just kind of a taste of what, when you buy a license, you now have the software that comes with it, and it's so sharp. When you first log into your software, this is a snapshot of a dashboard, and that dashboard will tell you your portfolio value. It'll tell you everything that's happening within the current, the different projects, whether they're up, whether they're down. You can kind of get a very clear picture of what's going on just at a glimpse. And then from there, as you continue to go forward, you can go into any one of your projects. So I clicked on rewards here, and I clicked on my NATG licenses. And what you're seeing here in real time, if I were live, what you would see is that mining balance going up. Every few seconds, you would see tokens being deposited into your account. That happens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Doesn't matter if I'm here, if I'm traveling, I'm not doing anything. The software is doing all the work. And so I'm seeing this number constantly go up. And what's really neat is you can go in and you can see how much you've mined within the last 24 hours. You can see what the current price points are of NATG. And again, these are screenshots. So the prices will fluctuate. I think right now we're at about 0.000434445, somewhere in there. I do want to point out that we launched NATG at 5 zeros and a 1. So 0.000001 just about 120 days ago. So project's doing exceptionally well. One of the things that I want to talk about are deflationary mechanisms a moment. So if you understand basic economics and supply and demand, you know, as you have less supply, like we've talked about previously, and there's a large demand, that often drives the value of that particular asset or commodity or whatever it is up. And it's no different here. And in the cryptocurrency space, there are a few different ways to be able to implement deflationary mechanisms. One is on the transactions themselves. So I want you to think about this. Each project has a limited amount of licenses. There's a limited amount of tokens. It's not like the dollar. They're not flexible. They don't just keep making more and more coin and devaluing everybody's coins. So if you are constantly removing coins that are in circulation, you're reducing the supply. But if the demand is growing, what's that typically in just basic economics would tell you that the price point usually will go up in that situation. So the first way that you can have deflationary mechanisms are on the transaction. So anytime somebody withdraws their tokens from the wallet, they have a percentage of that that goes to the burn wallet. So there's a constant reduction of supply that's happening. In addition to that, the company, DebtBox, has all kinds of debt partners, and they receive royalties from each one of these partners. And so, sorry, we just went a little dark here. We had a little malfunction of somebody tripping over my light, but we'll get that back on. So we'll just keep rolling. So, so what happens is they take the profitability and they buy coins up in the ecosystem and they send them to a burn wallet. And what happens is those coins are now gone out of the ecosystem. And if you think about that, we just had two of the largest burns that we've ever had in our ecosystem. I think we burned about $6 million worth of black gold. I think we burned about, was it about $3 million worth of natural gas? I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but we do our burns on the 18th and 19th of every single month. And so what's happening is the owners are buying tokens out of the ecosystem and they're sending them to the burn wallet, which is reducing the supply. So some of you might be familiar with the term halving. Bitcoin has a halving every 4 years. And if you do some research, you'll know that those halvings always kick off a bull run in the cryptocurrency space. The next halving with Bitcoin is next December. We have a halving every single year on the annual date. So Black Gold's halving is coming up in January. NATG's halving is coming up in May. So when you reduce a large amount of those tokens that are in circulation, it obviously creates more of a demand. And that is where we create, not only do we sustain and reduce some of that volatility, but it creates that tremendous upside potential, especially for those of you that are long-term holders that understand the tokenomics and understand that with each project, it takes time for those transactions. The more transactions that are happening, the healthier for the ecosystem. It takes time to start having regular burns on these projects. And so for that reason, our projects were built as a holding project. Doesn't mean that you can't get involved and enjoy some short-term benefits, but I am a long-term holder because I understand the tokenomics of each one of our projects. So, you know, the last thing I want to cover here tonight is every one of our licenses has a unique individual address. There's no shared mining that we're doing here. You have your own digital real estate. When you buy a license, it is governed by a smart contract. That means that there's nobody that needs to enforce it because it's programmed digitally. I don't have to worry about somebody not honoring the contract because it's programmed digitally. And I know, and the contract knows, to send me my rewards daily for the next 4,000 days minimum. These are perpetual licenses, so as long as there's enough commodity there to continue on beyond those 4,000 days, it will. But it's a guarantee for a minimum of 4,000 days, 10 plus years. This is digital real estate. It's essentially like having a title. And as soon as each project sells out, the different licenses convert to NFTs. And now you can take that NFT, and if you want to, you can go sell it on the open market. So some of you may be familiar with a project called Gala and Gala Coin, Gala Nodes. Gala started out at about $1,000 per license. The coin did exceptionally well. By the way, it didn't do as well as Black Gold, Black Gold has actually outperformed Gala at this point. However, Gala nodes now sell for anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 per node in the open market. So not only are you buying a license that's guaranteed to pay you daily rewards over the next 10 years, but you're also acquiring an asset that should you want to go and sell it in the open market, once that project sells out and it fully converts to an NFT, which takes about 90 days after the project sells out, you have the ability to be able to do so. And finally, for those of you that maybe you're saying, well, gosh, I don't have the funds to go and buy licenses, we do have rental programs that we've recently just introduced. We're piloting those projects right now, still testing and working out our kinks in our system on this particular program. But you can get involved on the rental side. For those that are collectors like myself, and I know there's many, many collectors that are in our ecosystem, not only do we buy licenses, but whenever there's an opportunity to rent, I rent. I just rented 10 grow licenses yesterday. Why? Because in a very short period of time, you can see that the grow license is a 60-day cycle. So anything that you accumulate during that 60 days is yours to keep. Well, if I had 10 grow licenses, that would cost me $25,000 to go buy those licenses. Well, renting allows me to be able for $2,500 to accumulate for a period of 60 days as if I owned 10 of those licenses. So I am currently renting 20 NATG licenses on top of the NATG licenses that I own. Anytime that there's an opportunity to rent, I always max out. And here's why. And this is one of the biggest lessons that I'm going to leave you with tonight. The decisions that you make in a bear market will build wealth in the next bull run. See, a lot of people get it backwards. A lot of people, when the cryptocurrency market starts to tank, they get scared. They buy into the FUD. You know what FUD is? It's fear, it's uncertainty, it's doubt. You get the media that loves to report negative news. And you got to think about it. Number one, who owns the media? And are these the same people that potentially run the Federal Reserve? That's a question that you might want to think about a little bit. And does it benefit them to always negatively target cryptocurrency? But the FUD sets in. And so what happens is people start to panic sell. Well, I want you to know that anytime there's a down market and somebody sells, their loss is someone else's gain. So whenever somebody is selling Bitcoin at 20 and they bought it at 50 and they're taking a loss, there's somebody else like myself on the other side buying up their losses. And they're holding them until the next bull run. My strategy, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, this is just my strategy. It's worked pretty well for me. My strategy is to accumulate as many tokens as I can during this bear market for as cheap as I can. And I look for projects that do three things. They have stored value, which is true value behind it. There's true utility, not some meme coin that, is a popularity contest because some celebrity is tweeting about it. I look for projects that have stored value. I look for projects that, if I needed it, present a cash flow, an income producing asset. I'm going to give you an example. And again, this is not a guarantee. These are based on today's numbers, but I bought 10 aluminum licenses for $15,000. Aluminum is producing approximately $7 to $8 a day per license based on today's values. Now, I'm not cashing out. I don't really care so much about what the today's value is because we're in a bear market and it's early in these projects and I understand what those tokenomics are going to do over time. But I want you to follow me on this. So if I own 10 licenses and each license today, based on today's values, this is not a guarantee. Again, I'm saying that just to be clear, is $80 a day. So $80 a day times 30 is $2,400 a month. Now you multiply $2,400 a month times 12, you're looking at about $30,000 annually based on today's values. Is there anywhere that you can go right now for $15,000 and buy yourself a $30,000 residual income? Anyone? Is there anywhere that you can go right now? Now, is there risk? Yes. Could it go down? Sure, it could. But is there anywhere right now that you can't even buy a coffee stand for $15,000? And if you did, you'd probably spend 2 to 3 times that for a small coffee stand, and you'd still have to have your inventory and your overhead. So if you understand that basic concept, you'll understand why my wife and I now own about 100 licenses. Because what we're doing is even though I'm not cashing out daily. I like the fact that if I needed an income producing asset, we have now built up to the point where we have about $1,000 a day coming in from our nodes, if I needed it today, based on today's values. Now, again, I'm a long-term holder. You know, what excites me is not NATG being at 0.0005. What excites me is the potential. I have, 10 NATG licenses. I have 20 that I rent, and I've accumulated about 38 million NATG tokens in the last 4 months. You want to know what excites me is the potential of that token going from 0.00045, which is where it's at today, to a penny, to 5 cents, or to $1. Now, it's hard for me to let my mind go beyond that, but our debt token right now trades at about $15 a token, maybe a little less than that. So for me, I'm a long-term holder, and I had to ask myself 3 questions, and I'm going to leave you with these 3 questions to consider tonight. The first question I had to ask myself is, do I believe that the cryptocurrency space is going to continue to thrive? It's going to continue to become more and more prevalent. The answer is all around us. The evidence I've shared with you tonight, JP Morgan, major institutions around the world, they're all adjusting to get ready for the digital currency future. So that question to me, without a shadow of a doubt, is 100% yes. The second question that I had to ask myself is, well, if we are going to see that type of adoption, does it make sense that the people that are going to be getting involved, the 4% going to 10%, right? The new people getting involved are going to be looking for substance, not hype, tangibility, not speculation, projects that are backed by real world commodities that are in high demand. Well, common sense tells me, of course, right? It's the reason why I'm here. It's the reason why many of you are here, because I wouldn't be here if these projects weren't backed by commodities. So we're solving a major problem. And so the answer to number 2 is yes for me. And then finally, the number 3 question is, well, are these commodities going to be in high demand? You think the demand for natural gas is going to go down anytime soon? Anybody look at the price of natural gas? It's up over 500% in the last 24 months. Go look at the demand for aluminum in the last 10 years and look at the projected demand of aluminum for the next 10 years. Do you think that the demand for oil is going to go away anytime soon? No. So for me, those were the questions that I had to ask myself. And then here's one more question I'll ask you. If not this, what? If not this, what? You can leave money sitting in a bank account right now, and guess what? You're losing money. Why? Because the cost of everything is going up and your buying power on the dollar is going down. The cost of food alone is up 12%. I read an article just the other day that said that the average person is giving up 1/12 of their annual income to the rising costs of consumer goods and inflation right now. 30 days of your income you're giving up to rising costs. So my question to you is, I started this conversation by saying, if we fail to adapt, if we fail to innovate, we will continue to see people struggling and suffering. Old ways will not open new doors. In a recession, diversification makes sense. And so for me, if not this, then what else? I go buy real estate right now. It's overinflated. Stock markets lost $10 trillion. Doesn't mean that it won't come back. But I'm not one of these people that has 30 to 40 years to dollar cost average. This is my belief. There is no better place to accumulate wealth than the cryptocurrency space. And in my opinion, there is no better place to do it than with the debt box and with these XNodes.